I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where once again it'll be the stars and cars of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup coming to you from, quite frankly, a really fun little quad oval here, I guess we'll call it, D-shaped, whatever, 1.33 miles, the Nashville SuperSpeedway, where Sam Hornish Jr. holds the track record. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always. I forgot to change his name. It's Bizzle in the booth with me tonight, taking Sunday Fun Day, extending it into Monday. I am looking forward to this race, Bizzle, but it's going to be an interesting one. A lot of the big names are here, but that doesn't mean everybody is here. Derek Love will not be in the show tonight. Jeffrey Stanton looks like he was not able to make the show tonight either. So a couple of the big names that you might expect to see up front, we don't have in the race here this evening.
You know, another thing I just noticed is in that intro graphic, it showed a road course here. Is that something we have available to us in iRacing?
Maybe?
Because if we do, I mean, TNT has a history of absolutely miserable races here at Nashville SuperSpeedway. I'm thinking a GT3 rain race here at the road course at Nashville could be absolutely abysmal.
Well, yeah, that's one way to say it. Todd Taylor putting up the first fastest lap of the qualifying session, 28.895 seconds. Following along with the number one of Thomas Lewandowski, running a new paint scheme tonight. The Johns Manville colors. Menards on the side of that one.
That is old school IndyCar right there.
Oh, yeah, old school IRL, but I like it.
Who used to run that scheme in the early 2000s?
I'm going to have to think about that one. Lap number 2 for Lewandowski, by the way, goes quick time, 28.675, 28.67 with a 5. River Hayes up to second quick as he completes his qualification run. Let's pick up Brandon Buckberger as he's down over the line of the Deans Farms number 3. And his lap will go second quick. Only 95 thousandths back of your quick timer, 28.770 on the racetrack as well. The number 20, the Red Ream Rocket of Josh Batista. Take a look, see what Batista can do here on lap number 2. As he's making his way down the backstretch. Lap number 1. About a half second off the pace, but that's not wholly unexpected. Bob Bryant in car number 4 moving himself up to second quick outside of the front row at a 28.68. Only 7 1/1000ths back of Lewandowski for the top spot. Lap number 2 for Batista will be good enough for third quick. 28.751 seconds. 67 laps coming up here on the bill for this one. Brandon Buckberger enters tonight's race with a championship lead of 117 points over Thomas Lewandowski. River Hayes sits third. Derek Love, James Watson in the top 5. But this will become a drop week for River Hayes and Jeffrey Stanton. Let's take a look here as these guys are getting themselves out onto the pit lane, and we will get ready to show you tonight's starting lineup. On the pole for tonight's iRacing Silver Crown Cup feature event at the Nashville SuperSpeedway, on the inside of row number 1, your pole sitter, Thomas Lewandowski out of New York. The Menards, Johns Manville, number 1, with a lap time of 28.675 seconds. To his outside, the number 4, Bob Bryant from the Mid-South. Only 7 1/1000ths of a second back, couple of very quick race cars on the front row. Still not finding a 10th of a second here as we look at row number 2. Josh Batista lining up inside in that number 20. The Red Ream Rocket, you'll see the number 7 next to his name in the timing and scoring tower. On the outside will be the Deans Farms number 3 of Brandon Buckberger. Again, only 95 thousandths off of quick time. Row number 3 will have the Team Watson Racing setups. Oh, I forget what the rest of the Smiths is, but that's River Hayes. Oh, Smith's Race Development. There you go. Sorry. Read the helmet too, dummy. That car is starting inside of row number 3. Up on the outside, the Team Watson Racing Setups National Racing Network. Martin Sports, number 5 of James Watson. The car will have the 39 on the livery. Row number 4 will have the 13 of South Carolina's Todd Taylor in the TNT Racing entry, alongside of the Kibu, number 9 of Laura Gerhardt from Germany. Nia J. Camargo and the Team Watson Racing Setups National Racing Network, number 12, inside of that 5th row. And on the outside will be the number 10 of Joe Gauthier in the Spotify machine. Row number 6, another Johns Manville entry, this one belonging to Togo Hisada of Japan in car number 6. And on the outside, Scott Schroeder in the Team Watson Racing Setups Boomer Button Boxes, number 11. All alone on row number 7 will be the number 8 of Tommy Toe. We did get a split tonight, a total of 26 cars on the entry list as the field's going to make their way through turns 3 and 4. Weather conditions for this race darn near perfect. 68-degree ambient temperature, 73 degrees is the surface temperature under overcast skies.
Almost a very nice night of racing.
Almost a very nice night of racing, but we'll say good enough for government work as the green flag goes in the air. We are underway here at Nashville. Going to be Lewandowski grabbing the early race lead. Bryant and Batista will battle side by side for position number 2. A little bit of a wiggle there out of Batista at the exit of turn number 2. That'll let Bryant keep the run up on the outside, and already seeing cars 2 and 3 wide as we get a little deeper in the pack.
Yeah, this should be a fun race tonight. These cars built for the 1.5 mile speedways. This track bit on the small side. This track's only 1.33 miles. So should see some interesting things happening out of these cars. It's going to be a little tighter than they're used to.
Maybe a little tighter than they want to see. Is Buckberger going to have the move on Batista's? Batista slides up towards the outside of the racetrack. Side-on checking in. He's sending a super chat saying Jeffrey Stanton would have made it if he had 5 more minutes. Yes. Derek Love checking in as well, saying, I'm away for work. Good luck, all. Well, Derek, what are you doing making money and things, man? Come on out here and play pretend race cars with us.
That guy, Derek Love, has the coolest job of anyone I've ever met. He gets to go spend someone else's money, buy the coolest, rarest cars you've ever seen, and then drive them back to a dealership where they sell them. I can't think of a better job. I'd much rather be doing that than playing pretend race cars, that's for sure.
You're playing real race cars with other people's money. The fight between Watson and Taylor side by side through turn number 2. Battle heating up at the front of the field a little bit as well. Lewandowski, Batista, Buckberger, the top 3. They've got River Hayes following right along. Top 4 all now nose to tail as Hayes sneaks past Buckberger at the entrance to the corner. Strength of field 37.43. Another big SOF here in the Silver Crown Cup. And quite frankly, if you're one of those guys that was kind of borderline on top split versus bottom split, you really get hurt by that if you don't make it into top split, because with the field this small, any kind of an incident at the front turns into a huge points night for somebody at the mid-pack.
Absolutely, and even especially if you were on the cusp and you get put in the bottom split, sure, you might go out there, you might lead every single lap and absolutely dominate that race, and it's worth maybe as many points as finishing 10th in this one.
Yeah, it's the kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to the iRacing platform and how that all shakes out with SOFs and rating. It's not like C fixed where if you're in top split or you're in second split, you're going to be really close in SOF because the field is just always big. Here, the difference from split 1 to split 2 is often pretty huge.
Yeah, split 1 is usually 1,800 to 1,900 average strength field, where the top split is usually 3,000 to 4,000 strength of field. So it's not 100 points you're playing with between top split and bottom split. It's thousands of points.
Following this battle towards the back of the pack here, Joe Gauthier, Tommy Toe battling for the 11th position. Trouble for Nietzsche Camargo out on the racing surface. Let's take a look here and see if we can see what happened to Mr. Camargo. We'll pick up the NRN instant replay. Oh, just got it up into the outside wall. Big hit. Wow, a huge ride for Nietzsche Camargo, tumbling down the front straightaway. Oh, my
How is that not a caution? Isn't USAC rule 1 flip a caution? That was like at least 13.
Well, yeah, the problem is where you're talking about the issue happening is it was towards the back of the pack. So there was basically nobody there. While we were in the replay, Josh Batista coming around and picking up the race lead away from Thomas Lewandowski. This battle going to, it was 4 cars, now it's going to be 5 with Bob Bryant holding on to the tail end. Let's take a look here at the NRN replay and see what this one looked like. The pass for the lead with Batista looking inside into 3.
Huh.
He's there, he's gone, he's here again.
I think Casper is driving that car.
Quite possibly. Seeing Robert Kreiser checking in. What's going on, buddy? I have to get out to Lanco to see you and your brother and check in with some of the old buddies out there. It's been too long since I've gotten to visit the High Banks of Clyde Martin Memorial Speedway.
I still can't believe I've never been to that track. I used to live so close down there at the southeast side of Pennsylvania.
A great Friday, Saturday doubleheader. You go to Linda Speedway on Friday night. $5 gets you in the door as a spectator. Usually 4 or 5 classes of racing. You head on over to the Clyde on Saturday night. Fantastic stuff.
Don't tempt me, sir.
This'll go in bonsai this weekend. Escaping the hell that is northeastern Ohio.
We just had our first car meet of the season. We had over 200 cars at the Kent State University, just outside of Kent State University. It was absolutely nuts. Everything from your 16-year-olds in Honda Civics all the way. We had a couple of R35 GTRs, a couple of exotic cars there, and everything in between. It was pretty awesome.
Nice. It is getting to be that season. Nice 80-degree day out here in the eastern half of Pennsylvania today. Enjoying every bit of it. As the field's working lap number 14 of 67. There you go. Robert saying they picked up a 7th place finish this weekend. Good start to the season. They kick things off with the no wing spring fling. So run all the classes without the wings on top of them. Wingless racing in Lanka was always good. Huge slide for Brandon Buckberger off of turn number 2 that time. Able to correct it, holds Josh Batista at bay, and it opens the door for James Watson to get himself up into a podium position. In fact, Batista stuck on that outside. Lewandowski's going to be able to clear him inside. Bob Bryant may follow through as well as they head to turn 1.
Wings are for cheaters. The only amount of wing you should have is if you see over the rear tires of these Silver Crowns, there's a little lip there. That's as much wing as I think a race car should be allowed to have.
I don't know that I agree with Bizzle on that one. We can see what your thoughts are out there in the comments land. If you disagree, make sure you send that hate mail to bizzle@nationalracingnetwork.com.
I don't. My inbox has been kind of light recently. People either agree with me or they're just not sending emails.
How about this one? James Watson getting around Brandon Buckberger for the second position, and he's going hunting at the front. Watson looking inside of River Hayes. This is almost Hanford device type racing here, Bizzle, if you want to talk about the wings. The old kart days with the wings. Hanford device. Oh, so good. So dangerous, but so good.
You know, actually, I've been my current sleep playlist that I fall asleep to has been late 90s championship auto racing teams races. I believe I watched Cleveland last night. I watched Cleveland, and then it was the Indy 500 from 98 I watched.
The old races at Burke Lakefront Airport were phenomenal.
Sunsets on the pier right at the end of the runway at Burke Lakefront, also phenomenal. There's nothing bad about that part of Cleveland. You can diss on all of Ohio. You stand on that pier, that is the best view in the state.
So Lewandowski trying to make that outside lane work through turns 1 and 2 that time. He'll get a little bit of drafting help down the backstretch from Bob Bryant. I really think that drafting help is where this could become a key factor in this race. Is Lewandowski going to grab some gravity, head down the hill, and he will easily make the pass on River Hayes as lap number 21 goes up on the board.
I wouldn't call that easy. He's not clear yet.
Sidon agrees with you. He says, hell yeah, Bizzle. The AJ Camargo saying, that was not what I expected for today. No, I hope you're okay.
Hopefully not in VR tonight.
Yeah. Sidon also saying, Burke Lakefront Airport was an amazing temporary circuit. I do. It was so good. I remember Paul Page hoping they'd turn Meigs Field into a circuit. Oh, what was the mayor's name? Donnelly?
Another great thing about Cleveland, though, we still have an airport, and up until the new mayor took power, the previous one wanted to bring racing back. I don't think the new one does.
JS Racing saying 11 minutes late. Whoops. Jeffrey, come on, man. Although we were getting kind of a live play-by-play as Jeffrey was finishing up the workday. That was pretty comical to listen to in the Discord channel. Richard Daly, that's who. Yes.
Flight sim enthusiasts around the world absolutely hate that man.
I'm not sure that anybody really likes that man. He literally had the streets crew bulldoze a live airport in the middle of the night. Like, trashed the runways so they couldn't be used.
Yeah.
But he didn't call the FAA first. He didn't call the FAA first. So if a plane needed that field...
God forbid a commercial airliner lost its engines out of O'Hare. It had nowhere to land.
If I remember correctly, there were still private planes on the tarmac that they had to get special clearance from the FAA to use the taxiways to take off from, to get the aircraft out of there. But Victoria Renzi's checking in, giving some love to James Watson there here at the front of the field. Not only is he leading this race right now, and he is tied for the laps led award right now, but he's also your hard charger of the race, up 5 for where he started in position number 6. Scott Schroeder up 3, River Hayes up 2, Togo Hasada and Tommy Toe up 1 position apiece.
no better way to start the week than with a win.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, James could use one in the Silver Crowns right now. He is consistently quick, but just, I mean, last week he was caught up on lap 1. Yeah. Lap 1 or 2, whatever it was, getting caught up in something that was not of his doing. And going out of that race very, very early. Here comes Lewandowski looking inside.
He's got something to say about it, though. Easily clears Watson out of the corner. Watson's going to have to sit single file right behind him.
Oh, huge block by River Hayes on Bob Bryant. That was, good Lord, that was a Joey Logano-style block there. He went 3 or 4 lanes down the racetrack. Is now Watson again going to have to look inside. I love the slingshots.
Still there, side by side, 2 rows back, looking 3 wide.
Oh, God almighty. Bryant was sideways off at turn number 2.
Blockberger was going to try and make it 3 wide there, had to back out when he saw the squirrel.
Don't talk about squirrels. You're going to upset me.
Told you, man, redneck tiki torch.
I have a family of them living in my shed. It may be easiest to just firebomb the neighborhood to get rid of them.
We had a couple chipmunks inside the garage
3 wide
today.
for the lead into 3. Watson's in the middle. Lewandowski trying to make that high side work. Big slide there for Josh Batista, almost up into the outside wall. Good Lord, that's Xfinity Series close there. The problem is you cannot do this for another 38 laps. It's just not possible. Hayes able to clear. He's going to bring Bryant with him. A little bit of a
2
twitch.
wide, 3 rows back now.
Yeah, and a little bit of a twitch there for Watson. This is going to get really interesting late in this race. Checking in with Sign-On here. Looking for the red ream rocket to blast off. Checkers or catch fence. I think Josh Batista's being smart. I think this is a case of Josh Batista being very smart in this race. Sitting back, doesn't have to race anybody hard yet.
Let these guys burn their tires off, wreck their stuff up, maybe throw one into the catch fence, and sail on right by them.
Oh, the crank cams look good tonight. Great look at this battle here at the front of the field. I mean, this is a pack of 8 cars within 3/4 of a second. And sliding their way. You can see the skid marks that they're leaving.
You know, the only thing dumber than this is I was watching Goodwood last night, and they were doing the same exact thing with priceless Bugattis last night.
Isn't that Goodwood is the best?
Pre-war era. Absolutely slinging them sideways, crashing them into each other. They had one almost roll.
Everything about the Goodwood revival and the Goodwood Festival of Speed is it is everything great about the car culture. I'll say racing at car culture. Sign on asking, did Mike Skinner bring that coked up truck again?
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that one on air.
We'll take it. Just past the halfway point. It'll be 31 laps remaining here. So somebody Kicking the dust up against the outside, safer barrier, exiting turn number 4 that time. The field was 2x2 all the way back through 8th place. Now they've single filed out again. You almost wonder, is this a little bit of kind of hold the stuff and not do anything crazy here, knowing you still got a ton of time left to go?
No, this is Silver Crown Racing. You lose that draft here at these mile and a halves, and your night is over. You might as well pull it in the pit lane and park it. You got to be balls out, wide open throttle, trying to keep up with these guys and stay with it.
Well, to that point, Laura Gerhardt sitting about half a second back of Todd Taylor. She may lose the draft here with that car looking a little bit squirrely off at turn number 2. And really, all it's going to take for something crazy to happen is, let's slide up here and pick up James Watson. Watson and River Hayes team themselves up and decide, hey, we're going to the front. They're going to get to the front. I mean, Lewandowski, that car looks pretty strong right now, holding the gap at about 1/3 of a second. But it almost feels like this is where that kind of swap draft technique, it feels like it doesn't work. This might be the one instance where it does. The lead car loses so much momentum that the guy behind just kind of pulls out, slides right back up in front, and you can use the extra momentum from the second or third car in line to try to tow the entire line forward.
Not only that, I'm fairly certain that Watson, Hayes, and Lewandowski all run the exact same car setup. I believe they all work on it together. I don't have any definitive proof of this, but I think I've heard through the grapevine they do. So Watson's car sitting there in third has the same juice Lewandowski's does. If he wants to get up there and catch him, he absolutely can. It's just a matter of the nut behind the wheel rather than what the car can do.
Well, and yes, that 6 inches between, what do they say? The 6 inches between the seat and the steering wheel is the important part.
Yeah.
That's kind of where James Watson is. It just feels like sit back, don't have to run hard, hold the draft, and keep the tires in good shape. Because like we said, I mean, there's still a lot of racing left to go. If you're somebody like Brian Buchberger or Batista, though, you kind of have to start thinking about making a move.
Yeah, they got to get themselves up there and especially break up these TWRS cars. If Watson and Hayes get together and they start working together like teammates do, they got the same logo right there on the fuel tank, they're an unstoppable force. You have to get a car in between them, break those two apart, and make them fight to get back together.
Well, like you said, they are also teammates with Lewandowski, or at least running the same setups.
Yeah, Lewandowski used to run a TWRS logo on the side of that car. I don't know if something happened or if he just decided to change up paint schemes for the week. But I'm fairly certain he's still got a TWRS setup underneath that car.
So let us know in the comments, who's the pick, who's it going to be? Does Watson, Buchberger, Bryan, or Batista have anything for these two at the front? The gap's still sitting right about 1/3 of a second between Lewandowski and River Hayes. It's another 3/10 back to James Watson in third. And, I mean, we haven't really talked about it a whole lot. There is another battle going on deep in the field. It's Togo Hosada and Scott Schroeder. But outside of this lead pack, there really isn't anybody that's going to cause an issue. Even Tommy Toe, who would be the first car to go a lap down, he's like 19 seconds back of the race leader. He's still 10 seconds away from going a lap down, and it's only one car. Lap traffic will not be an issue in this race.
No, and it usually isn't here at these bigger tracks. There's plenty of room for the lap traffic to get out of the way, or there's a huge apron where if you're going down the straightaway or entering the corner, the lap traffic can get below the apron. It's not a huge deal here like it is at some of the short tracks where there's just nowhere you can go.
Buchberger making that move on Watson. He's down to the inside through 3 and 4. Watson tries the side draft, slides uphill a little bit. Oh, Bryan almost got into the back of him. Now Watson's going to duck right back down to the inside and go to work on Buchberger as they get to turn 1. It'll be the Dean's Farms machine holding on to third position as now Batista tucked up right behind Watson, and we're starting to see these cars become a handful. Down to 20 circuits remaining as lap number 48 goes up on the scoreboard. Lewandowski has opened up the lead to about 0.6 of a second over River Hayes. It's another 0.4 back to Buckberger, and Watson doing his best just to hold on at this point. Obviously, you have the tools at your disposal to use as you see fit, but eventually the car hits a point where even the tools aren't going to be effective anymore either.
Yeah, there just gets to a point you only have 10 digits in either direction you can move that weight jacker. So once you run out of weight jacker, you're kind of stuck where you are. Which is why preserving the tires is just so important, because you want to still have room where you can move that up and get the car more comfortable in the final stage of the race.
Buckberger is closed in on River Hayes in the fight for second. And now it's starting to feel like go time a little bit here. The gap's at 0.7 of a second between Lewandowski and Hayes. But it is starting to shrink down, and now basically this is going to be Hayes and Buckberger in full chase down mode. Based on what we're seeing here, the 5-lap average is, it's a 10th is what we're talking about. But a 10th at 0.7 of a second, you're going to catch them with maybe 9 or 10 laps to go, and then it really is time to get on the loud pedal.
Yeah, the final 10 laps of these Silver Crown races, you have to be all out, because these things have come down to the wire more times than not. So sitting there and waiting for a 10th of a second is going to be the difference between winning and losing.
In fact, it was only about 0.5 that last time by for Hayes and Buckberger versus Lewandowski, running by his lonesome at the front of the field. Bob Bryant able to settle into the 4th place ahead of James Watson. Josh Batista runs 6th. So now you start asking yourself, when do you make the move if you're Buckberger? At some point, do you say, we're not going to get there? Or are you looking at the relative dropping and going, yeah, now we're down to 0.4? Okay, it creeps up a little bit to 5, but we're eating into this lead. We're going to get there. I just have to stay in line.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if it's Lewandowski checking up a little bit too, saving those tires and just being patient and knowing it's going to come down to the wire. Instead of letting them freight train him, leave a little bit of life left in tires where he can hold them off at the end.
I think that's a great point, because it's not going to be one car passing him, it's going to be 2. That's just the reality of how this is likely to play out. So you have to be able to know where that move is going to be, because as soon as Hayes and Buckberger get past, Buckberger is going for the lead. He wants a win. He wants to put another, $50 into the till for Driven to Save Lives this season. This would go a long way towards hitting his $100 goal. I think this could be one of those instances where Buckberger, if he can get caught up, may be the guy sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah, that's the only thing, is you have to get caught up. They have to work together for now. Not all the way to checkered flag, but at least to the white flag work together. They close the gap to 3.5 tenths.
And it'll be 11 laps to go this time by. That lap car of Tommy Toe, they're getting close to. He should not present an issue for the race leaders.
Big wiggle there out of Buckberger.
That's never something you want to see. Coming up on a lap car and they start blinking right in front of you. Toe moves himself up to the high side of the racetrack.
No, they can't be doing this. Buckberger trying to go side by side there with Hayes. Decides to back out of it, sit right behind him once again.
Great call by Tommy Toe. As you mentioned there, Bizzle, able to hit that kind of pit access road that's way inside of turn 3. Oh, Buckberger got a piece of the apron.
Buckberger thinks he's faster. Buckberger now trying to get in the second spot. He thinks he can chase down Lewandowski.
I don't know that you want to be second if you're able to catch Lewandowski. I don't think you want to be second, because you end up as the leader, and that crossover move that we saw lap after lap after lap, you're going to be on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, but I almost wonder, he's able to catch right up to the rear tail tank of River Hayes. I almost wonder if that car is faster, and that car might have the beans to go out there and get Lewandowski.
Oh, big slide that time off of 2 for Buckberger. Almost got it up into the outside safer barrier. And at this point, these guys, they're just not making the ground up. It's sitting right about a half second. Now down to 7 circuits remaining.
Yeah, they need to swap, and here we go. That's exactly what Buckberger's going to try and do. Try and get underneath the Hayes, get the pass done. Hopefully by the time they exit 2, it's not going to happen, though. They're going to fight side by side. This is not what needs to happen if Buckberger wants to win this thing.
Or River Hayes, for that matter. We've hit that point where River Hayes has decided defending for second is more important than trying to chase down for the win.
I don't know if that's the move. Either of these guys, if they want the win, I think Buckberger has to go in front of Hayes. Now, whether or not Hayes wants that to happen, that's up to him. It's his every right to finish second here, but even still, finish second behind Buckberger. Try and chase down Lewandowski. He's the points leader right now. Get him a third-place finish.
Well, Brandon Buckberger is the points leader right now by 117 over Lewandowski.
I did not realize that. In that case, by all means, keep Buckberger behind you.
Well, and
that changes everything.
River Hayes is sitting third in the point standings right now. This is the 3 guys that are contending for a championship right now. Derek Love and James Watson are also in contention here as we get to the halfway point of the season. What really is crazy, the numbers just don't make sense to me other than SOFs. Brandon Buckberger has 6 starts, 1 win, 6 top 5 finishes. Lewandowski, 8 starts, 5 wins, 6 top 5s, and he's led 215 of 597 laps completed. The difference being Lewandowski's wins have been coming not just on broadcast night, but in the later splits during the week.
Yes, and that is the key. So when you run 2 races, your better points finish is the only one that counts. The other one is dropped. So if he's winning these Wednesday night splits and they have a 2,500 strength of field, that's almost the equivalent of finishing 4th or 5th here. So yeah, if he finishes 10th in the Monday night strength of field race and wins the Wednesday race, that's a good night for you. But you win the Wednesday race and you get that win check mark next to your name, sure, it counts as a win on the board, but you're not earning as much points as finishing 2nd or 3rd in this race.
Well, now with 2 to go, the race is on. They've caught Thomas Lewandowski exiting turn 1. Oh, and a huge wiggle for Lewandowski off the corner. Did River Hayes time this out absolutely perfect to keep Brandon Buckberger from having a shot? They'll come down. White flag goes in the air. 1 to go here at Nashville.
1 lap to find out.
Top 3 all nose to tail off of turn 2. Hayes slides high ever so slightly. Oh, he may not be able to block Buckberger now. Big dive into
Buckberger
three.
taking a long way
Buckberger's going to
around.
have a huge run off the bottom of the corner. Twin checkers go in the air. Thomas Lewandowski wins at Nashville. River Hayes and Brandon Buckberger will wind out the podium. River Hayes almost had that timed out absolutely perfect.
Just another lap. How many racers do you think have said just another lap after the checkered flag had dropped?
It happens every day on the iRacing platform, and quite frankly, I think, like I said, the timing was almost perfect for River Hayes. While we get ready for some Victory Lane interviews here, we'll let everybody give them a minute to get into the interview room. Let's take a look at your final race results. It was Lewandowski, Hayes, and Buckberger separated by 0.2 of a second at the line. Josh Batista and James Watson round out the top five. Another good top five finish for both Batista and Watson tonight. Bob Bryant coming home 6th, Laura Gerhart 7th. 8th place Todd Taylor makes up the end of that lead draft. Togo Hisada and Joe Gautier rounding out your top 10. Second page of the leaderboard has Scott Schroeder in the 11th position. Tommy Toe, the only car on the racetrack, 1 lap down. And AJ Camargo, after a wild ride down the front straightaway, comes home in position number 13. So we will get ready for some Victory Lane interviews here, and we'll, let's see. Trying to figure out which camera I want to use for this one. Yeah, we can pull this one up. And we will bring in our race winner tonight, Mr. Thomas Lewandowski. And Thomas, congratulations on a really dominant win tonight, leading 46 of the 67 laps that we ran here tonight. What was interesting to me was seeing late in the race, River and Brandon making that run. Were you worried at all that they were going to catch you and be able to make the pass, or do you felt like you had saved enough tire that you would be able to hold them off the way you did?
Yeah, well, I was a little worried because I was pretty close on fuel there, and so I was kind of balancing, my fuel and how my pace. So I knew a couple laps ago that I'd be fine. So I didn't have to really worry about that then. But yeah, it was definitely a balancing act and probably a lot closer than it should have been. Should have just added the extra gallon.
Absolutely dominant performance by Lewandowski tonight, man.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I guess it helps if I unmute my mic. Sorry, Bizzle. The question I was trying to ask was, we talk a lot about the setup and how the car is built for a given racetrack. How much does that fuel calculation have to go into how you actually set the car up? Because I would imagine you get light on fuel late in these races. The thing's already kind of evil handling. You kind of have to build that into the setup process.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I always push the edge with the fuel. Just, the less weight you have on the car, there's the faster it goes, no matter what. I really don't, except for a sprint car, but that's a different beast. But, this thing, it's definitely, you got to take into, account that because you got to figure out, the fuel burn and how that changes, the ride heights at the end of the race, that affects your cross weight and everything. So it's definitely a consideration there.
Well, it was a big win for you tonight here in a good SOF. 37-43 should earn you a pile of points here tonight. Congratulations on picking up another win. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs for us here, too.
I just got to thank you guys, for broadcasting these races. And, everyone over at the Drill Owl, Bob raced with me tonight, so it was a little fun, even though he got damaged early. And, John, Larry, Marcus, those guys always support me. And hope you guys like the throwback Robbie Gordon scheme I ran tonight.
Yes, we did. Actually, we made mention of that. The Johns Manville's colors on the car tonight. Absolutely fantastic looking race car, Thomas. Congratulations on the win once again. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us. And now it's time for us to talk to, I guess we'll talk to our third place finisher here tonight, Mr. Brandon Buckberger. We'll bring Brandon up into the booth with us. And I tell you, Brandon, it was an interesting race to watch you and River and how you guys were battling but not down the stretch here. Was that kind of the thought process of stay in line, catch him, and then we'll try to fight it out amongst the two of us?
No, I was riding for about 35, 40 laps, and then once I got by Bob and James, I knew it was go time, and I just couldn't get by River. I caught him super quick. I couldn't pass him. I was so loose off too, and he was doing a pretty good job making that car pretty wide. So, and I know twice I hit him in the middle of the corner on accident, but I mean I had to let off just so we both didn't wreck, and I don't want to do that. But he's really good at holding his line and being good under pressure. So it was just hard to pass him. I was trying to get by him. I don't think the draft would have mattered that much because I think I could have gotten up to Thomas, but I think he was still a little bit better than me. And I think he was saving fuel a little bit at the end, so he may have been just saving. So I don't know. It is what it is. It was a good run, though.
Did it concern you at all when you guys were in that big pack through the kind of midpoint of the race that we're going to burn the stuff up here, whether it's right front, right rear? If you use the tires up fighting at the midpoint, you may not have anything left for the end.
I was saving till about lap 40, and I saw these guys were racing real hard, and I was giving them a lot of lanes because I've been in those situations where I've raced like that, and I've gotten hit, and it's caused a 4-car wreck, and I've always been on the short end of the stick. So I was playing it safer tonight and just trying to see what happened there. And I know last time we ran here it was a 90-lap race, and my car came together about halfway through, and I used the same setup. I just didn't adjust for the 67 laps, so it was another one of those deals where we get another short race where I need a long race and vice versa. But, I'm happy with third. I think this is the best finish I've had all season, so it's a good run.
In the broadcast races, possibly 7 starts, 1 win, 7 top 5s in your races this season. But you are leading the championship, even after the points update that we just saw pop up here. 1,032 to Thomas Lewandowski's 950. I know you hate talking about points, but at some point do you start thinking championship? You've won a lot of them.
Yeah, I think they've got like 14 or so, but those championships, I was winning almost every other week. Tom's winning every week. He's just had that one bad week. Come that drop week after week 8 or 9, he's going to jump ahead of me. So I don't think I'll be leading points much longer. I need to start winning races if I want to think about that.
Well, give him hell, buddy. Another little bit more money going into the kitty for the Driven to Save Lives, folks. That is very, very cool to see. And Brandon, we thank you very much for coming to hang out in the booth with us here. Before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs for us here, too.
Yeah, sure. I would love to give Thomas some hell, but he's just so damn good. But, yeah, good run. Another $5 in the bucket for Driven to Save Lives. So I'm trying to get, more than the $5 a week donated here. I want to try to get a win or two to get another 50 per win. So we'll see what happens with that. But I want to thank the guys at Dean's Farm and Happy Camp Speedway here. So Bob, Scotty, Nate, Madison, and then we're about to go-kart racing here real soon. So that's going to be real fun. We're going to have some weekends, and we're going to probably do some live YouTubes or something like that. Maybe we can get you to broadcast something here for us, Chris.
You know what? That sounds almost like a plan, brother. I think we could have a whole lot of fun with that. We've done some stuff
I live in the Midwest.
Up at Snydersville Raceway. I have called go-karting before. So, yeah, well, we might have to have a conversation on that. That'd be fun to get out there and hang out. And are you still TikTok viral?
You found it, huh? Yes, I am. Yeah, I've gotten some inquiries from some companies about some stuff, including some alcohol sponsorships. So, Bizzle, come on down, broadcast a race or two, and have a couple beers with us at Happy Camp Speedway.
Absolutely, that sounds like a plan. You're in Illinois, right?
Yep, an hour west of O'Hare, so be easy to get here.
That's only a 6-hour drive, man. I'll be over.
All right, we've done more just to go snowmobiling and to adult establishments, so I think you can manage it.
On that note,
Wow, that sounds like a great weekend.
Brandon, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us. Oh, buddy. This could turn into a night now. Absolutely fantastic show out of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup, guys. My goodness, do they put on an absolute banger of a show every week for us here. We really appreciate Sign-On checking in with the super chat earlier in the show. If you are so inclined, you can do the same thing. It's right there on your YouTube screen or somewhere on your phone or tablet or whatever you're watching on. If you're watching it back after the fact, the super thanks are there too, as are the channel memberships and all that crap. But man, we do this because we like doing it. So thank you all very much for coming to hang out with us tonight for the iRacing Silver Crown Cup from Nashville SuperSpeedway. Coming up tomorrow night, it will be another doubleheader, the Sprint Car Cup, heading off to Lanier National Speedway. I'm looking forward to that show. And then the TNT Shock Series heads off to the Nashville Fairgrounds, a race that will either be absolutely fantastic or dull as can be, but you won't know until about 40 minutes into it or so. It's just kind of the way those shows seem to work out. But the TNT Shock guys always having some fun with us here. We really appreciate them. Coming up on Thursday night, the USF Pro Championship heads off to the streets of Long Beach. The Real World IndyCar Series will be there this week. Perfect opportunity for those guys to run the Long Beach streets. And that means, actually, well, tonight, we are halfway through the month of April. You know what that means, Bizzle?
It's payday for me, but what does it mean for you?
It means we're almost to the greatest month of the year. The month of May is rapidly approaching, and that means TNT special events. A pair of them, back-to-back nights.
Is that boring, stupidly long race with that stupid racetrack that's tear down and put a short track up at?
Patrick, go be stupid somewhere else.
Oh, I'm only playing. I still have my Indy 5.
Oh, we just gave him the server mute. He can't talk. On that note, Bizzle's an idiot. But we thank you all so much for coming to hang out with us. It's been awesome. On behalf of, I guess, Patrick and everybody else here at the National Racing Network that gets these shows on the air, my name is Chris Cramp. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.